Hello Sri Lankan Sports TV viewers, it's been a long time since I met you all with a video, but again we are here to talk about the 2022 Qatar World Cup, which is being held in Qatar right now. This World Cup is really about the excitement and football and above all controversies. Qatar, ever since it was announced in 2010, has always been marked by controversy, starting from bids and also the construction workers and how the ground and the facilities are going to be. And a country as small as Qatar with the population very small, can they pull it off? That was the huge question. But Qatar have answered all of these, but also the controversies haven't stopped. So going back in history, in 2010 when Sepp Blatter, usually the then president of FIFA, came out to the stage to announce who were the hosts of the 2022 World Cup. So early in the day, for the 2018 World Cup, they announced as Russia the World Cup host, and that wasn't a very huge news, I'd say, because everyone thought Russia was a huge country, they had the resources to pull it off, and they had incredible stadiums, they just had hosted the Winter Olympics, so all of these was okay. But then, nervously, he was starting to pull out the card to show who was the host for the 2022 World Cup, and it was Qatar. And the whole audience were quite stunned, to be honest, because Qatar as a country, as I told earlier, a small country with small population, how can they pull it off? So behind this bid, there were some allegations, speculations regarding whether this bid was done in a very honest way. Was it bribe? Was it, behind the scenes where there are some deals going on? Because as 2018 World Cup was given to Russia, which is a UEFA member, so this World Cup had to be given to some Asian member or an African member, or maybe even an American member, North American. So USA and Qatar really fiercely bid for it. South Korea also bid for this World Cup from Asia, but at the end Qatar won it. So talking about this bid, the panel of members who were at the FIFA for the selecting of the bids were really someone or people who weren't really clean, because some of them had allegations regarding corruption, bribery and so and so. So immediately after this bid, there were a couple of people who were really taken off from FIFA because they had some issues, and the other members such as the president also, Sepp Blatter, eventually was really put into limelight because he was going under some speculation. So after all this, now Infantino, the current FIFA president, really before the start of this World Cup said that all of these are going through, but Qatar have come clean and this World Cup is going to go through. So apart from this bidding thing, there was other issues such as human rights, because construction workers were really put into very harsh conditions to make the stadium as well as the other infrastructure going on in Qatar, because the number of deaths are in the highest ever for a World Cup, because we've seen deaths can occur, accidents can't be really stopped, but they can occur. In 2018 Russia we had, in 2014 there was the Brazil World Cup, there also were accidents, but the accidents in Qatar and the deaths were in a very, very huge number. So this was a concern. The other thing were the human rights regarding the LGBT community and how Qatar is looking at them, and also with the rights of other people as well. So all these were a very, very important thing when it comes to this World Cup. So immediately when Qatar was announced as the host member, there were so many cries regarding how this World Cup should not go through. And also being a bit political, on around the mid 2015s and 16s, Qatar was really not having a very good relationship with its with its neighbors, I should say. Maybe Saudi Arabia, then you can say Kuwait, and also UAE. All these members really went on with a blockade to Qatar because they were really not politically together. So this also made Qatar a very, very important or very controversial World Cup, because everyone thought, okay, now the blockade is there, is this World Cup going to go through? Are they going to get the raw materials to build the stadium? And amidst all this, now the Qatar World Cup is still going through. Okay, now talking about all these, apart, we are going to talk about the qualification and who qualified for the World Cup. A major shocker coming from Italy, who haven't really qualified for this World Cup, because Italy, about 2 months back, maybe a year back I should say, were the champions of Europe. They were European champions, and everyone thought it's going to be a cakewalk for Italy to qualify into this World Cup, but they didn't. So apart from Italy, there was this Chile, a very good team. They used to win the Copa America and all those from South America, and that team also didn't really make it to the finals. And also from Africa, I would say, a very big country, a country that is crazy with football, Nigeria haven't made to the World Cup as well. So these are major omissions when it comes to World Cup, but there are also other small countries that have made their way. For instance, Qatar haven't played a final ever. So this is their first final because they are the hosts. Because they are the hosts, they are the finalists. But can you say can you say whether Qatar deserves it or not? Because they were the Asian champions a few years back. So I think the team has massively improved. And apart from Qatar, there are other small countries as well, Ecuador making it, and also Canada making it for this World Cup as well after some time. So these are very good signs. And now let's talk about the group stages. Talking about the group stages, the Qatar World Cup has been put into 4 teams, have been put into 8 groups. So we'll look at the groups. Group A has Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, Netherlands. I think it's almost a hard group, I'd say, because Netherlands, Qatar, the host country, Ecuador also playing very good. Senegal, a very good team, even though Mane isn't available for Senegal. That's a very good side. And as also Group B, you can see England, Iran, USA, Wales, all very good sides. Group C has Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Poland, teams that can really fight for the knockout grounds. And also Group D, France, Australia, Denmark, Tunisia. So we'd expect France and Denmark to go through generally, but you never know, in football there might be some upsets. And also Group E, Spain, Costa Rica, Germany and Japan, very good sides as well. Group F has Belgium, Canada, Morocco and Croatia. Croatia, the last World Cup's finalists who lost to France. And Group G has Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland and Cameroon. Group H has Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay and South Korea. So talking about the teams, we have seen the groups. Let's see how the teams are and which are the strongest, or which teams have been the favorites in this World Cup. So let's see about the teams. Now first, the most favorites in this World Cup is definitely Brazil. So as we were talking about the strongest side and the most favorites, I would say it's Brazil, because Brazil's team, definitely their defense and their goalkeeping and also their attack have been brilliant. So talking about attackers for Brazil, they have Anthony, who plays for Manchester United, Gabriel Jesus, Gabriel Martinelli, very good Premier League players, and also Neymar, Pedro, Rafinha, who plays for Barcelona, who just made his way from Leeds to Barcelona. And also we have Richarlison, the second striker of Tottenham, and Rodrigo and Vinicius Jr., brilliant players for Real Madrid. So star-studded, packed, very impactful forward line which can score goals against any given team. That is, even it may be France, it may be Argentina, any big team, they can score goals. But their midfield is obviously not as strong as the other departments. I'd say Bruno Guimaraes, who plays for Newcastle, Casemiro, and also Fred, Firmino, Lucas Paqueta, all these players, good. But I'd say world class, we can't say. Maybe Guimaraes and a few others are world class. Casemiro is definitely one of the best DMs going around in the world. So we'll talk about defenders. They have been packed with defenders as well, very quality players who can really make an impact. Dani Alves, Danilo, Alexandro, and also they have Eder Militao, who plays for Real Madrid, who played very well in the Champions League. And also Marquinhos, Thiago Silva, so much of experience as well as young players making the 11 of defenders for Brazil. And also goalkeepers, Alisson, Ederson. You never need to talk about them because they are world-class keepers. So Brazil is one of the dangerous sides in this World Cup, and mostly everyone would back them to be the champions. But apart from Brazil, there are other teams that can play well as well. For example, 2 greatest players we've ever witnessed, it's Ronaldo and Messi. It is going to be probably their last World Cup. You never know, maybe they go for another World Cup, but if they win this World Cup, they're definitely going to stop it. So these 2 players would be eyeing to win the World Cup, and their teams would definitely support that. So when that is being said, Argentina and Portugal are 2 good sides as well. Talking about Portugal team, they have good players. I mean, those players are seasoned players who can really play in these big matches. For goalkeepers, they have Diego Costa, who had been brilliant for Porto in the Champions League this season, and also Jose Sa for Wolves, who is a good keeper as well. Rui Patricio, another good goalkeeper, a very experienced goalkeeper, I'd say. And defenders, Diego Dalot is been having a very good season with Manchester United. Joao Cancelo, Danilo Pereira, Pepe, Ruben Dias. Look at that defense. That says quality. And apart from them, they do also have someone like Nuno Mendes, who plays for PSG, an upcoming defender who is quite young as well. So defenders, tick, you can say, for Portugal. Let's look at the midfield. They have got Ruben Neves, Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes, João Mario. All these players who can really make an impact, and all these players have to do is give the attack or just transition the ball to the forwards, because they have a very good forward line as well, the Portugal team. Andre Silva, who played for Frankfurt, now he plays for Leipzig, and also Cristiano Ronaldo. What can this man do? He can do wonders. So definitely a very strong side. Apart from them, they do also have João Felix and Rafael Leo, who is having a very good season with AC Milan. And talking about Argentina are a very good side as well, especially with Messi in their side, and they want Messi to win the World Cup. So let's look at the Argentinian side. So Argentina's goalkeeping options are quite good as well, but Emiliano Martinez, the Aston Villa goalkeeper, definitely might start, I guess, and they also have Rulli and Armani as backups as well. So defenders, they have Juan Foyth and also Lisandro Martinez, who has been brilliant ever since he moved to Manchester United, and they also have someone like Nicolas Otamendi, who has plenty of experience. Christian Romero, who plays for Tottenham, a very good player as well. So the defense is quite good. And talking about midfield, they have someone like the Enzo Fernandez, very good for Benfica in this season. They have Palacios and also someone like Alexis McAllister, who plays for Brighton in the Premier League. But forward line is really good for Argentina as well. Julian Alvarez and Paulo Dybala, Angel Di Maria. They also have Lautaro Martinez, Leo Messi, as I told you. Almost I would say the next strongest forward next to Brazil, I'd say. So this team is good as well. Apart from these teams, England, as usual, Harry Kane, they have this Declan Rice, and also a very good defense as well. So they aren't, I would say, one of the best teams in the World Cup, but they can't really challenge the other teams. So apart from England, we have the usual suspects, someone like Germany, someone like Spain, and also Netherlands. They have really changed their lineup a lot. And the normal starting 11, you'd expect really star players. They are star players as well, but they're quite young for their age to really go and win the World Cup. But you never know, but anything might happen in this FIFA World Cup. So apart from these teams, Senegal really had a very good team. Apart from Mane being injured, I think that's a huge blow. If Mane was really fit for this World Cup, that would have really boosted them and they could have really gone high into the tournaments. But now with Mane being injured, that might be a psychological issue as well. So they'd still give a good performance. So these are very good sides. So we'd expect these teams to go on. So let's see how this World Cup pans out. Okay, now all this football, World Cup and everything is all fine, great. But now talking about Sri Lanka, why is Sri Lankan football in this stage? Now they are 207th in the world rankings, and a team that rarely wins, a team that rarely plays some attacking football. It used to be one of the best teams in South Asia at one point, the best team in the region, but now it's really gone downhill. So who is responsible? Is it the federation, or is it the players, or is it the selection committee, or is it the whole Sri Lankan setup? There aren't really one people or one sort of institution to point your fingers at, because Sri Lanka as a whole country in terms of football has really gone into a downslide. So now talking about federation, the federation's last president going away in a controversial manner, and now it's come under the ministry. Remember last year there was this Super League, launched in a very grand way, and it was meant to be the premier football tournament for Sri Lanka, and this year we didn't have it. So that's simple as that. So as long as you have the consistency to have matches, to really hold and host all these things every year, and the tournament should go on, and the consistency is a key. And these things, without these things, I don't think Sri Sri Lankan football might go through to the next step. And also there are many issues with the players and the board as well. And in the recent interview with us, Wasim Rasik really told about how they had a misunderstanding between the board and the contract issues, and how the federation wasn't really willing enough to support the players and all these issues. So if Sri Lanka really have to step up to the next level in football, the board, the federation, have to really support, and there have to be a really huge overhaul in terms of the football federation. And now with the federation under ministry, I think the next the committee or the next board should be really helping, or we deserve to get some very good members in the Sri Lankan Football Federation to take the game in Sri Lanka to the next level. So that's all we have. A slight concern about Sri Lanka as well, but also celebrating the World Cup 2022 in Qatar. Let's see who is going to win this World Cup.